All right, I think we're live. So, hey everybody,
Hi.
Kulikowski here. Hey, Lacey. I always called you guys Lacey and Stance. Like, I still remember from our breakthrough call, I did that like three or
Yeah.
four times. It's like it's Lacey and oh my gosh, Stacy and Lance. It's like you guys are gonna do this to me again. So, Stacy and Lance, I'm so excited to be with you guys. And really, guys, you're gonna want to tune in if you guys are watching this and really pay attention because this I was just telling them before the call that there are just some amazing aspects of their story that other clients haven't had, that future clients won't have. It's very unique. And some of you guys are going to be watching this and you're wondering, are things ever going to change? Are we ever going to be able to move forward? Like, is our relationship always going to be like this? Is our finances always going to be like this? And you guys are going to want to listen because what these two have been able to do in such a short period of time truly blows my mind. And if you guys will take what they're going to share with you guys and really implement it into your own relationship, I promise you, you won't even recognize your marriage. Like I just don't recognize them. I was looking over notes. I'm like, really? Like that was like 10 weeks ago. I'm like, what? And like, there's no way you guys are not those people, and you're so different. So again, welcome everybody. Say hey to the audience, guys, and
Hello.
Hello.
awesome, awesome, awesome. So maybe just introduce yourselves. Where are you guys at? You know, and where do you guys live, and ultimately that kind of stuff. Do you guys have any kids? That thing.
Yeah. So I'm Lance, and this is my wife Stacy. We live in Columbus, Ohio. We have four kids, three boys and a girl, 14, 12, 6, and 5. And we're both, you know, busy, full time working parents. And we both are heavily involved in our church and our faith. And
Are you guys
we
crazy
just,
Ohio State fans? Because every time I talk to
oh,
someone from
no,
Ohio, it's
not
like,
me. She is, not me,
okay,
though.
okay,
House
okay,
divided.
House divided. I went to Michigan. So,
And I went to
okay,
Ohio
okay.
State.
That makes sense. I feel like every time I talk to somebody from Ohio State, it's like they're just like it's like a whole another level of intensity. So
oh,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it is.
If you go to a funeral, somebody's going to shout "OH." That's how they are.
That's hilarious. Well, that's awesome. Well, guys, again, it's so good to have you guys. Maybe just start off with, you guys know it's been about 10 weeks, I think, since we first met and we first got started. And maybe
Mhm.
just let people know, guys, like what would you say over the last 10 weeks, like where you are today? What would you guys say have been some of the biggest breakthroughs that you guys have experienced, not only in your money, but also in your marriage, just right off the bat?
Yeah, so I had mentioned that we were involved in church and our faith, and I think in a lot of ways, we're very focused in that. But I think that we weren't really living that out in our relationship in regards to money, and I
Hmm.
wasn't living out my role as the leader of the family. I was allowing things to just kind of go as planned, and Stacy was sort of owning that money piece, and I was semi-aware and letting her just kind of handle it, and it was causing a lot of stress on Stacy, which in turn means that I'm getting a lot of stress.
Hmm.
So um, it was something that had been building for a long time. We've been married; we're going on 8 years now. We're both we both had previous marriages that didn't work out. And I think a lot of the symptoms from those previous marriages were kind of creeping in a little bit.
Hmm.
And we could both see it as it was happening. And, we've tried different things to get dialed in, but it really wasn't until we had an opportunity to take some time off. And it coincided with an email from you that caused us to really say, maybe we need to really talk to this guy and see what it's all about. So that's really where we are right now, or that's where we started, I should say.
hmm
Yeah. Hmm.
And from my perspective, I was probably not being very transparent about how I was feeling, and some of the things that were kind of coming out as a result of the stress and anxiety were directed towards Lance, the kids, even at work, just the kind of the spilling over of years of just frustration and the inability to really understand how to fix it. And being kind of a type A personality myself, wanting to control everything, but then having a lot of resentment towards Lance for him not participating, but me not knowing how to even engage him. So I was the one who saw, I think it was an ad on Facebook that I started receiving your emails, and there was one particular one that sounded just like us, and I forwarded it to Lance, and I said, I think we really need to find a better way to come together. We both wanted to, but we didn't know how. It was like we had both had similar symptoms, but didn't have the right doctor, to help prescribe what was really going on. And I from the very first week in the program, I think one of the things that we really, I guess, grabbed a hold of and what you taught us was about identity and mindset. And that was the key to the transformation, that all the other symptoms pointed towards our lack of true identity, or we have it, but it was almost like we weren't connecting our identities to each other as a married couple and unified in Christ at first, and who we know God sees us as, and us believing and seeing each other as the way God sees us. And so that was like the 180 that needed to happen for the finance piece and like the other symptoms to start to be relieved. So it wasn't necessarily about us having a way to better manage our finances. That was a tool or medication, I guess, for the symptoms, but it wasn't really the diagnosis that
the cure.
Right. It wasn't the cure. And so it didn't take us long because we already, I think, believed a lot of the things that you taught us, but it wasn't, we didn't have a way to like constructively put it together that we could kind of like make it part of who we are and part of our family like foundation. So, understanding mindset first, mindset of thankfulness, and seeing each other as superheroes, and the things that I love, that kind of stuff. And it was just like the aha moments of, wow, we're not doing ourselves any favors by just walking silently in pain, and we were both feeling it, and it was time to do something about it. And so you intervened with us and with God, as part of it, which was huge. I think that was something that we were really looking for and wanted to be, part of the solution. And how we, I guess, ended up grabbing a hold of your program so quickly is that we identified with what you were teaching, and it helped us to kind of jump all in.
Yeah. You guys were
faith first.
You guys, I mean, it's like, if there's anybody who's coachable, I mean, it's like, it was you guys. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I was like, again, this is what I would tell my daughter to do, or this is what I would tell my mom to do. And this is what I recommend. You guys would just do it. I mean, you didn't argue. You didn't fight your way through. You were just like, okay, great. I'm not an expert, and you just did it. And then, I mean, you guys have, we'll talk. I mean, you guys have, I mean, the financial component of how much you guys have done the last 8 weeks, like, it just blows my mind. But it's like, but I don't want to miss something. If all of you guys listening, something that you guys both did, and I didn't coach you guys what to say throughout this interview, and that's what's amazing, is first thing Lance did when I asked what was really the issue, or like, where are you at now? He said, I realized I wasn't taking responsibility. I was putting it on her. I wasn't leading the right way. That's, first of all, that's huge. And then for you, Stacy, to go, you know what? I wasn't being honest. I wasn't being fully transparent. I was just stuffing a lot of it. And I think one of the biggest takeaways is, how do you guys feel like shedding that victim mentality, and it's like, I'm pointing the finger, and taking ownership? Like, how much of a role do you guys feel like that really made, and you guys getting such quick progress, not just in your money, but in your marriage? I mean, really just owning, first of all, your responsibility, but owning the solution.
Yeah, I think that that part is so big, because it allows us to, we opened up to each other on that, and taking ownership and shouldering the blame of it allows us to be open with each other and more vulnerable with each other. And it kind of, I think it helps to stimulate trust in what we're doing.
That's good.
And even, we had some, we had moments during that process that were I wouldn't say they were steps back, but they were like, hey, wait a second, you know. Um, I can think of two where there was one where, you know, we were a week and a half or something in, and there was still some distrust there. You know, it was Stacy was a little bit still in, you know, I'm kind of waiting and seeing if this is real, you know. And, you know, at first, when I first kind of got that understanding that she was there, I was a little hurt, you know. I felt a little hurt by that think because I'm like all in, you know, in myself. But then I started thinking about it and realizing that, you know, she doesn't see in me. So the only way that that trust is going to come is if I continue to um, live it. You know, if I'm exhibiting that it's real. And I think that over the weeks that changed, and we even I think that we had some breakthroughs outside of obviously the financial piece was great and we made some great breakthroughs there, but we had some different breakthroughs together as a couple, just a little bit in communication and a little bit more in just trusting each other.
Mm.
Now we're still, you know, it's still a work in progress,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know, 10 weeks isn't going to fix everything,
And
but
you're not perfect.
it sure made a huge difference. I mean, really huge difference.
Yeah. Because I mean, before, I mean, when we first talked, I mean, where did you guys really, I mean, again, you both came from previous marriages. I mean, what was really your biggest fear when you guys, you know, were on that call and it's like, and looking around and really being honest for the first time about how you felt? What were you guys most afraid of if you guys couldn't have just ended the money fights, if you guys weren't able to really get on the same page and really just to be able to, just to heal all the frustration, resentment? I mean, what was your guys' biggest fear?
Do you want to go
Sure.
first? Or?
So, I think for me, it was living this life that I thought we were going to live together, not together.
Hmm.
Yeah. You know, I think because we both came from failed marriages before, and I think you know, with our faith, I think we're both committed to divorce not being an option. I think a big fear is that we would just be going on and like grinding it out and having our kids see us just grinding it out and then coming away from this family with a really, really unhealthy understanding of what marriage is and what love is and what you know being married as a Christian couple is, and to give them the perception that it's just you just got to suck it up and grind it out. I mean, I don't want them to come away with that. I want them to grow up, and I want them to see, you know, us loving each other, and I want them to grow up and see us unified as husband and wife. You know, and that
Excuse me.
they're not gonna, so that we don't perpetuate this cycle of like you know
Mediocrity.
single-mindedness and self-centeredness and divorce and mediocre marriage. You know, we want them to come away and you know just understand what a rich and beautiful marriage is when you have Christ involved, and we weren't doing that. And I think that this process has helped us to get to that place, get closer to that, because you know the finance part, it's the mechanics of it's great. You know, you can get the mechanics from any finance class, but the thinking that we got from, you know, weekly meetings and being focused and talking about it, and it gave us a perspective that we when we do meet and when we do focus on each other and when we do things like that, the financial piece is super easy.
Mm.
And we have, to be completely straight up, we've gotten super busy a few times in the last 10 weeks. And there were times when we missed that. We didn't get together like we should have. And it was instantly apparent in how we felt about our finances and how stressed the stress level was. And so just that one little thing of being together and taking a little bit of time to focus together on this program or focus together on this mentality makes it's literally a night and day difference. Just that one thing makes a huge difference.
And I think that it's easier now. It's kind of like I keep using the analogy of going to the doctor, but once you have like a diagnosis and you have a treatment plan, it's more easy for me to see when those symptoms are creeping back up. Whereas before it was just like, I'm in pain, I'm complaining, I don't know what's going on, I just feel miserable. But now it's like, oh, I'm starting to feel pain. Let's go take the medicine. And put a stop to it before the symptoms get out of control. So it's like, it's not just about a temporary transformation to pay off debt and but it's like really learning how to live together and having the right tools to address some of those pain points while we're going through it, and instead of letting it get a year or 10 years down the road and then be so far gone that you can't fix it.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's part of, because we did this together, unlike, a wife goes off and does some kind of program to try to fix the problem on her own, or Lance goes off and does something to try to fix it on his own. Because we went through this together and committed together to do it, now we can say, I feel like something's off, like something was going in the wrong direction. We need to get a hold of it right now. And what is it that we haven't done? What are one of the three things that we haven't been doing or been faithful about that is now causing problems? And so, I think that there's just so much value in the time that we spent through this process that is really sustainable forever. It's not just like once you pay off your debt, then what? It's the bigger, now what? Well, now we have our whole future to dream and to plan, and the tools that you taught us are forever tools. They're not just now as to address a particular situation like debt or financial stress.
Yeah, that's so good, Stacy, because because I'm sure you guys, like you said, you tried things before. I'm sure it's like, either individually or together. What were some of the things that you guys tried before? And it was like, it felt like a shot in the arm, but it didn't feel like this is longevity. This is something that's going to be able to last us for years, where you really felt like from the inside out, you were different. What did you guys try before?
So we have a financial class at our church. It's called Finance is God's Way. And because of our ministry obligations, I took the class, but Lance didn't. And so I was trying some of the tools and things that were presented, but I was the only one that was aware. So me trying to explain to him what was taught was kind of like it was kind of watered down, honestly.
Yeah, I was getting the Cliff's Notes version.
Right. And we met with a friend of ours from church, and he came over and he gave us some tips on how we can pay off our debt. And we did those things.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not that we weren't good students. We did those things, but the other stuff still lingered on. It's still, there was not a sustainable framework in which we could really address the other issues that were contributing to the financial stress, because obviously that was 3 years ago. 2018, and we got right back to where we were. We paid off a bunch of debt, but we weren't connected to prevent it from happening again.
And I think in some cases we might be in a different situation than some folks that are that might get involved in this, because financially we're in a good place. We're financially both make good money. We're both in good shape, but we're not managing it necessarily in a smart way. So, we got ourselves into a little bit of debt before we went through the mechanics of the class, the financial mechanics. Paid off some debt. The big difference is we never got into a place where we were both fully immersed in the process of, hey, what are we doing? Hey, how are we going to address this? Hey, how do we want to move this money or manage this money in a way that gets us both to the place where we want to be long term? And the mechanics are great, and we have established some good habits in this last 10 weeks from a financial standpoint. But again, those are things that are I've been viewing that as like a secondary. It's like a bonus. Bonus. That piece is a bonus for us. We get good habits that we can sustain, but the ability to do it together and be close and be focused in a very Christ way together on it for our family is really what I think has been the most huge benefit of it.
Yeah. And what you said is really important too. I want to on that, because it's like you're making great money, but at the end of the day, it's like, you still weren't living up to your fullest potential. And so
Right.
it's really all kind of relative. It's like whether you're making whatever, $75,000 a year combined. And it's like, but the thing is you could be making 150 or two or three or four. And it's like, and if you're making whatever, 150, whatever, it's like, you could be making three or four. It's like, at the end of the day, we've never seen we've never seen one couple come to us where their dream deep down, like their really like biggest, grandest dream for their family matched their current income.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. We've never had like, yeah, I'm going to be able to live all my dreams and do the things that I feel like are on my heart and I want God wants me to do with the money I'm making right now. Never had anyone. You guys haven't had that happen. Anyone hasn't had. No one has. It's like there's always room to grow. But I think what you said is so important. Where it's like it drives me nuts. Where you people do a debt-free scream or like, hey, we're debt-free, and it's but like you guys said, who cares if one, it's not sustainable,
right?
And you're going to go back, but two, if that's where it stops,
right?
Getting out of debt is that's literally like the first domino out of 1,000. That really, it's like that's just beginner, like step one. It's like that's really, if that's all that you're really doing is getting out of debt or building an emergency fund, but you don't have this amazing partnership. You're not clear on your dreams and your goals as a couple, and you're not making crazy progress toward it. You're not making the money that you really deserve. You're not living the lifestyle that you really want. Like all these sorts of things, you're not be able to give the way that you want to give and make this radical kingdom impact. And it's like, then who gives a crap if you're debt free? You know what I mean? Like who cares if that's all that it is? Like, yeah, we paid off some debt, big whoop-de-doo. And I think that what you guys said is so important, where it's like, you did other things before, but really you guys, where do you, when you see the future now, what limits do you really see? Because before it's, I know that there was probably a ceiling, but like, what do you guys feel like is really possible for you guys now that you have this amazing partnership and that you've gotten all the mind trash, all the limitations, all the fears, all the stress out of your mind? And it's like, and really, the potential, where do you guys see yourselves?
Well, I think that we've always felt a tug towards full-time ministry. And one of the things that I think you helped us kind of take the lid off the brain is that you don't have to give up the gifts that God has given you in turn to be ministers to the many, to the masses. And so I think that challenged our thinking about what full-time ministry looks like and how we can use.
Can you explain a little bit more what you mean?
So you don't have to be poor to be in full-time ministry.
Right.
Please, hold on. Say that again for everyone at home.
You do not have to be poor to be in full-time ministry. It is okay to have income and to be, to have wealth within your own family and still be able to be, forwarders of the gospel for Christ. You don't have to be poor to do that. Right. So, we always assumed, or we had the assumption that we would get to a place one day, we'd get into full-time ministry and that we would, make it, with God's grace financially. But I think that we can see now that, there are options that we have that we can still have abundance through God's grace. And maybe we won't. We can't say. It's God's choice. But in this case, we do have the option or the ability potentially to have wealth or to have abundance and still be a real kingdom impact as a couple and as a family.
Absolutely. And we both feel that because of our story, that we have a message, and you've helped us kind of, I guess, reinforce that the message of hope and how as a couple or as a family, we are multipliers in the kingdom of God. And it's not just about what we can do together as two people, but with God and our talents, like how can we multiply that and really shift our focus or mindset off the things that we were so concerned about and really dream again about what it is that he really has planned for us, and not just shirking back and saying, no, we can't afford that or we can't do that, but really figuring out like, how do we make a way for whatever it is that God's calling us to do? And it may not be comfortable and it may not be easy, but having the right tools and the right mindset allows us to be more open to whatever his calling is. And we have a long time before, we're going to be retired, hopefully. And so, what difference can we make, and what is it that he's really putting on our heart that we maybe were just ignoring before
Yeah.
because we only saw 6 months to a year into the future, and now we can see or try to see 20 more years into the future, and how many lives can we impact, and how many believers can we bring to Jesus. And that's really what motivated us to want to change how things were going. I mean, granted, yeah, we wanted our marriage to be better, but we had already committed that we were going to be in it to win it. But winning maybe was only like skirching by, 1 point win instead of like slam dunk. Like let's have a national championship team,
Yes,
So
I love that. That's so good.
yeah, so it's really been for us collective mindset shifting, and increased belief in each other and the power of what we can do together, and synergy really with us, and God is our, father and guider through this crazy world that we live in. So
Mm. If everyone listening and watching, have you noticed how many times they've talked about their minds and their brains and their psychology and their mindset versus just the mechanics and the strategy? And I think that that's something that's really, really important, which it's just missing in a lot of other places. I mean, was it really the first time that you guys had really explored some of that, or was it really more so the first time that you felt like you were finally getting breakthroughs and freedom from so much of the crap that was really bogging you down mentally? Because really, that's what we found is that's the 90%. Is it's like you said, it's all the fears, it's all the false beliefs, it's all the emotions that you don't know how to shed around what you really want and why you can't have it, or why you shouldn't have it, or why it would be wrong for you to have it, or greedy, or whatever it would be. I mean, what do you guys feel like was really some of the big shifts that you guys saw, just even in your own, in your own beliefs and your own mindset as you guys went through this process? I mean, mechanics are great, but like you said, I mean, budget's awesome, all that stuff, but
Yeah. Go ahead.
so I would say, like, for me, I probably am the more fearful of the two of us. And so knowing that, or having that self-awareness, isn't something that's new to me. And we've been involved in an organization that it kind of helped me be more aware, but I didn't really feel like I had the tools to shift my actual mindset. It was
yeah,
kind of like, well, you shouldn't be afraid and you can do this. Okay, great, wonderful. But can you help me see how I can get from where I'm at today to where you say that I can be or should be? And I get that. Like, I agree. I need to not be afraid of silly things, or in my brain, probably not so silly, but when you think about it, they're kind of silly. However, I didn't have a tactical way to like bring it out of me, or to even have a way to put things on paper that had plagued me for a really long time, like past experiences that had helped develop those fears and over time. So without having a way to like bring it out and like shine light on it, just like, God says, bring the dark into light, like without having a way to do that tactically, I was struggling because I knew I had to do it. I knew it was in there and I knew it was affecting me, but I didn't have a tool or way to extract it and say, like the villain that you taught us, and put a name on it and say, oh, when I feel like this isn't me. This isn't of God. This is of the enemy. Go away. Like, I don't want you here anymore. But
Mhm.
but I needed something not abstract to
Yeah,
help define it, define that evil or whatever, and put it away.
Yeah.
And call her out when she's, raising her ugly head.
Yeah, I think so. Talking about like the financial mechanics, you can read a book or look online or take another course, and there's probably 100 different ways that you can do a weekly budget, or there's 100 different ways that you can figure out how to pay off debt, or all these different tactics that you can do. Um, the tactics that we learned outside of that were what helped us do the little mindset. So there's little steps each week when you had a new exercise to, get a mindset of thankfulness, or a new exercise to understand the person that can lift you up in yourself and the person in yourself that drags you down.
Yeah.
The little exercises that help you understand the other person and the things that lift them up or drag them down. So I think those mechanics were what are the difference maker with the program that we went through with you versus anything that we've seen before, is that the thinking and the mindset that gets you in a together on things and gets you away from yourself and your own limitations that you set, even as simply as understanding that when you're going through your budget, there's money in there that you have no idea is in there.
Say that again. Say that again for all the people at home.
There is money in your budget.
All the people that are like, but Lance, you don't get it. I'm doing everything I can. It's like never seen it happen once. I don't care how much money you're making, $2,000 a month. There's always money that's being wasted because why?
Yep. We sat down. We had our budget. We figured we had it nailed down, and you had asked us, I want you to take 5 minutes and find $500, like find $500 from somewhere. And I was thinking, no, we already did this. But we found $500 to pay off more debt in like a 5-minute period. That was, 5 minutes before it was not, that $500 didn't exist. So there's always money there, and there's always things that you think that are holding you back from actually making positive progress.
And let me ask when you did that, because when most people, when you say that, some people are like freaking out, like, oh my gosh, does that mean we can't, does it mean we have to, destroy our life and we can't do anything fun and we can't go on dates, we can't travel, we can't do anything. Because like I said, most people don't have the right psychology around it, and it becomes miserable, it becomes self-mutilating, it becomes toxic, it becomes almost like you're fighting, it's not fun. But I mean, for you, what was that process like? I mean, did you feel like afterward it was exciting, it was fun, you felt like you were winning, or was it like, man, we're just depriving ourselves and this is just miserable and like this sucks? And what was it like for you?
I thought it was fun. I'm not someone who's ever been overly money, budget, or numbers focused. I'm a pretty free spirit. And so budgeting to me seems like drudgery. But even the mechanics part of it, we turned it into kind of a fun game of managing it and owning it. And I think taking ownership helped me to step away from that thought of it being drudgery and looking at it as a challenge. But the thing about it is we were able to budget fun into it.
Yeah.
So we budgeted fun into the equation. And, at first, we were fortunate in a couple of windfalls during that time that were helpful, that we were able to funnel a lot of money towards debt. But even still, we didn't allow it to be drudgery. We took time, and we didn't spend a lot of money on the fun parts, but we did made a deliberate choice to budget some fun in there. And it was like a nice reward, and we were able to pay off debt, and we were still able to enjoy each other and still enjoy the process. And I still like managing it through the
That's awesome.
through the program. So it's good. Yeah.
That's awesome. And then let everyone, guys, again, I haven't kept track, but how much debt did you guys pay off? It was some crazy, what was it?
I'd say probably
well
30,000.
It was close to $30,000.
Yeah.
Since November.
I think what's amazing is, like you said, everyone has different circumstances, things happen. It's like money comes in, it's, whether it's a bonus or whether it's this or that or savings. But what's amazing is that, again, where would that money, even if for the average person, when you get some extra money from either work or you sell something or do whatever it would be, where does it usually go anyway? Right out the window.
Yeah.
So I think that's what was amazing to me, is that you guys had every opportunity. You could have just taken, whatever excess you guys were able to find and get, and you guys could just blown it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you guys were smart with it, and you guys had fun doing it. That's what I think is so different, guys. When you do this the right way, everybody, it should be fun. It should not be drudgery. It both of you should be having a blast. It's like, I don't care if the other person's never been involved and has always been intimidated by it. And it's literally like nails on a chalkboard. It should be fun. And if it's not fun, and if you don't feel like every day you're winning, you're doing it.
Yeah. Old us would have probably paid off some debt with some of that windfall, but we would have also bought some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd still be carrying debt, and we'd still be where we were right now. And we'd be, we wouldn't be where we are. We would still be struggling, and we'd still be in the same place without having done that.
I hear a little son somewhere around.
Yeah,
Little Hannah.
she's hanging.
Oh, I don't care. I love that. So what are you most excited about for Hannah's future? Now that you guys, your relationship is so much different, your finances are so much different. I mean, I know what your greatest desire, your fears, but also your greatest desires for her and for the other kids. I mean, what are you really, what would you say really brings tears to your eyes, or that you're most excited about, that when you think about their future, just makes your heart want to explode now that you guys have gotten this under control and you really have such a bright future?
Well, specifically for Hannah, I want her to see me and how I am with the family and how I am with Stacy. And I want her to have a healthy understanding of what a husband should be like and what a father should be like. And also to see the model that Stacy's giving and understand how to be a wife that, can be in a good, strong, healthy marriage. And understanding that, I want her to have that. I don't want her to have to struggle. I don't want her to be trapped by her fear. I don't want her to, not be able to look at her husband and be vulnerable and share and ask, what she needs. And I want her to be able to pick a husband that's going to respond to that, not in a, I don't know, a douchey way, So that's really it. I want my kids to just.
I think it's hilarious because it looks like it's your hand, but like miniaturized, and it's like stroking the beard. It's like that's too much fun with the camera. It's like your tiny little baby hands. It's like
Mm-hmm.
everyone like that's just tuning in is totally freaked out right now. They're like,
Right.
My little tiny baby hand.
Does he have a shrunken hand? What's going on?
Right.
That's awesome.
So,
That's awesome for him. What would you say, Stacy? Like, what are you the most excited about for your kids' future now with where you guys are at?
well, one little thing that kind of was starting to really bother me was that I felt like I was the one that was always saying no to the kids about whatever. Can we get this at the store? Can I have this? Or can we do this activity? And I was the traffic cop. And so and as much as that seems like a little thing, it really hurt me because I felt like I was the one that was responsible for controlling the purse strings. And I didn't want to be the one that was saying, no, you can't do this because of our financial situation. So obviously that's an immediate change that now I don't feel like it's me saying yes or no. The boys are well aware, our older two, of what we're doing and why, and our motivation and our purpose that's driving us trying to be more conscientious about how we're spending our money. Plus it's also allowed us to spend more time at home and having more quality time with them because we're not just out of convenience running through drive-through at night for dinner. And so it's actually brought a different level of engagement within our entire family that we were lacking. And then from a future perspective, having the ability to use our finances for kingdom advances, that's not just for Lance and I. That's, we've already taken the older two to Costa Rica with us on a mission trip. Lance and I are going to Uganda in the summertime. The little ones have already expressed, desire to go to Costa Rica. They don't know why we went to Costa Rica, but they want to go too. And so, having the financial freedom to be able to plan into the future and say, these are the things that we want to do, and have a way to, I guess, pay for them without stress.
Yeah.
And also, over time, like multiplying our income will allow us to do more of that as a family versus maybe just one or two of us going at a time. So
I love that. Well, what would you guys say? I guess if you guys could think of, by the way, it's going a little echoey. Here you go. Thank you.
sorry,
No,
I
it's
did.
fine. What would you guys say? What is it? What would you guys really say that if you again you got the microphone to yourself just for a minute or two? What would you guys say that if you were really speak from the heart, speak from the truth? Don't worry about offending anybody, but what would you say just really to the person listening out there that is exactly where you guys were? Like, whatever 10 weeks ago, where it was like you just didn't even want to be in the same room half the time. Half the time you weren't even in the same room because you were working so much because you didn't want to be in the same room. It's like whatever it is, it's like where you're working your butt off, but it's like, but still, it's just, there's that fear, there's that overwhelm, there's that anxiety. And it's like, and you just don't know if it can ever change. I mean, what would really be the message on your heart that you'd want to share with whoever's watching right now?
I think you don't have to accept being mediocre. You don't have to accept where you are. And the only way that you're going to get out of that is to take ownership of, where you may have failed, and be willing to just be vulnerable and accept, the other person. And really, it's all about accepting yourself and then moving forward with the other person. You can't do it separately. You can't do it without understanding, how you are holding yourself back. And then also, when you look at that, believing that the other person is, of value and worth, because we gain our worth not from each other. We don't get our worth from the world. We don't get our worth from, what our bank statement says, or, who we think we are. We get our worth from our Father. We get our worth from who Christ is and what Christ has done for us. And if we need to see the, our spouse as the worth that Christ has given them. And, as we work through that, you don't have to be stuck. You don't have to just accept mediocrity again. Just it can be done, and it's not hard. The just an easy step. It's really an easy step of just accepting it, and making a choice to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd say, I was in a place where I didn't know if Lance would engage in this. I was almost afraid. I was afraid to even send him that email, but it was like being open to what God was already putting on our hearts. Like something had to change, and we both felt it, and we both came to a place of acknowledging that we are not going to be able to do this on our own, and we knew that from a biblical sense, but like I said earlier, that we didn't have the tools to really move forward. And so, what I've learned is that it's okay to allow someone to come in and help, to see things from a different perspective, to bless you with the tools that you have, Jeremy, been given. I mean, and we're all in this together for God's glory. And so if you as a brother in Christ are coming alongside of us and saying, I can help you, like, put down your pride. For me, that's a huge thing. Put down your pride and say yes, because our mission here on earth is way bigger than the two of us and the struggles that we have. And the enemy is going to do anything he can to put a wedge right between us. And that's what we felt more than anything through this program, is that wedge go like disappear.
Mm.
And so from us to whoever's listening, saying yes to your marriage, to your family, and to the purpose that God has ordained in you and for you. This is a small investment in the future kingdom building that God has ordained for you. And we just, I just can't even like share how grateful we are for that blind faith moment when we were like, yep, we're doing this. And it was literally like, yep, we're doing this. We don't even other than like God said, yep, you're moving forward. This is what I need for you to do. And so it was so worth it, more than we probably ever could have imagined. And we're just grateful and thankful that, Jeremy, that you're following God's calling for your life as well.
Yeah. I guess one last thing, men listening, we have been called to be the leaders of our families spiritually, and if you're not doing that, you're not doing your job. So I would say, I wasn't doing my job. I wasn't doing what I've been called to do as a husband, and taking ownership of that is, you need to do it. You just need to suck it up and do it as men.
Well, I mean, there you have it. I love that. We should just make this the Lance and Stacy show. This is beautiful. So, guys, I can't tell you again. It's like, I mean, I can't. It's like it's like a watershed moment. I'm like doing everything I can. Like the dam is breaking. It's like I just want to explode with tears of joy and gratitude. And I'm so proud of you guys. And it really is an honor to get to serve you guys. It's an honor to get to be with you. And it's just amazing where I look at your life and I don't see any limits. And I think you guys are there too, where I see the potential. I mean, I see you guys being millionaires and changing the world for Jesus and having a blast along the way. Not having to be broke, not having to be struggling in your marriage with this. I mean, and again, how many major, Christian leaders out there, it's like all of a sudden you pick up the newspaper and it's like, what happened to their marriage? It's like, you can have it all. Like you really can. And I think you guys are demonstrating that already. It's like, you can have this amazing 5-star marriage. You can have this amazing fulfillment in life. You can make really great money and make an impact, and you can be fulfilled, and you can change, your kids' life, and you guys can still have fun. And it's like, God he doesn't hold back. I mean, there's just, guys, everyone watching, I mean, really he's given you every opportunity you want to have the life that you want. Just go out there, claim it, and get the help that you guys really need to make it happen. And so I would say, guys, if you're like them and you resonate with this and you really realize, yeah, we need some help, we want to reach out and have a similar story, I would just say, guys, go to dreamteammarriage.com, just like they did, book a free call with us, and we'll be happy to sit down with you guys and do the same thing we did with them. I mean, just figure out what's not working, what are the pain points, like why are you stuck? I mean, really, guys, that's what our expertise is figuring out what has really been keeping you stuck here for years, for decades, for some of you. And then how can we, within a matter of literally an hour conversation, get you from having no idea how to fix your life, how to fix your marriage and money, to being able to dream about the future, get clear on your goals, help you guys create a timeline, and give you guys the best path forward. If it's with us, we'll let you know. But there's a lot of people, we just say, you know what, I don't think this is the best fit, or maybe not the right time. But if you guys are anything like them, if you're committed, if you're resourceful, if you guys are decisive and you're like, yep, this is the kind of life we want, and we want it right now. We don't have to wait another 2 years or 10 years from now. Like, we're ready to have freedom. We're ready to have abundance. We're ready to have impact and fulfillment now. Then you guys will be just as successful as them, maybe even more successful. It's a challenge for you, Lance. So again, step it up, keep the challenge going. It's like, some come in like, so I'm going to take 30,000. It's like, amazing marriage. It's like, we're going to have it even better. And it's like, yeah, challenge these people, make them look like they're not even trying. So I'm just proud of you guys. I'm so amazed. It's such an honor to get to be with you guys. And again, guys, go to dreamteammarriage.com if you guys need help and you want to reach out and see if you can have the kind of marriage and financial situation as you guys. I mean, you guys will probably even be debt free within, I don't know, very soon. I mean, it's like, I mean, literally before it was like almost never, and at best years. I mean, it's like you guys literally shortened like the timeline by, I don't know, like 10x, 20x. I mean, it's amazing. So again, I love that. I love the fact that it's not just that. It's like, it's a matter of now the emergency fund gets there. You guys keep saving for the future. And again, now it's like launching you guys into your dream future, with your income, with the kind of way that you want to spend your time, and really how God's going to use you as a couple. It just blows me away. And I'm so excited for that. So again, guys, dreamteammarriage.com if you want to book a call. And just again, guys, thank you so much for this interview. It was amazing. I know it touched my heart, not just hearing your story, and excited for your future. And I know it touched everyone else's too that watched. So just thank you guys so much for this time, and just bless you guys.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Awesome.